Hello, humans. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Bic Easy Reach lighters that they've been promoting quite a bit lately. These sort of extended tubes on a Bic frame. And the reason I wanted to talk about them is because I think that they're really weird, and I don't understand what space they feel they're filling in the market, to be perfectly honest. Um, in terms of the packaging, we don't have tons that's super interesting. It does have French all over it, which I think is a little bit funny. And at the bottom, we have our safety labels. Keep it away from kids. It's a lighter. Read all warnings before using this product. It's a lighter. Nobody's going to do that. And extremely flammable content under pressure. It is a lighter. Which, yeah, whatever. Extremely flammable, blah, 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 blah. Keep away from kids. Don't set yourself on fire. No lighter is child-proof. There is no substitute for proper adult supervision. Yeah, there is. Just put it somewhere where the fucking kid can't get it. Do not keep lit for more than 30 seconds. I didn't realize that was a thing that they didn't want to do. Anyways, there's nothing interesting about this. Does it have its Proposition 65 warning? I don't see a Proposition 65 warning, which I do kind of like. They're made in Spain, which I just straight up did not know. And in terms of packaging, it's cardboard over this crap plastic, which means that we can't recycle half of the packaging. Yay. And so much of this plastic is unnecessary. Look at all of that nothingness wrapped in plastic. Doesn't it make you feel so much worse knowing that? Bleh. And it has additional warnings on the actual fucking lighter because, of course, it does. Keep out of reach of children. Read all the warnings. But fortunately, it has a pull tab, so I'd never need to look at that again. Oh, it's a little bit sticky. Blech. Love the residue it leaves. That's a 10 out of 10. That's going to get taken care of with some isopropyl alcohol later. All right. Unlike a normal Bic, instead of having a wheel that you spin and then a tab that you push, it's all in one thing. And it makes this little light. It is nowhere near as windproof as this cutouts would suggest. So, the reason why Zippos have all these little holes in them is actually for weatherproofing. So if you try, you can't blow it out if you put enough effort into it, but a stray breeze or something like that isn't going to put out the light. And in most extended lighters like this, those little cutouts are designed to do the same thing. But this takes no force at all in order to overcome that, which is a little bit annoying. No, the Bic.com logo is actually printed on there. I didn't realize that. It's a Bic. The main body is exactly the same as a Bic. It has this sort of spark ignition system, similar to a barbecue or a regular extended lighter. And then it has this sort of, it's still fairly short, but it has a slight extended flame nozzle, which, okay, fair enough. It's a little bit less compact than your traditional Bic is going to be as a result. Actually, does the traditional Bic blow out? Yeah. Traditional Bics are just as easy to blow out, so I think this is just a Bic problem, not necessarily these guys in particular. But nonetheless, the reason why they have this sort of extended snout on them is so that you can reach into candles, stuff like that, without burning your fingers. With Bics, in order to do that, you sort of burn your fingers as you try and bend. The idea being, with the extension, you don't need to do that. So here's why I think that that's a little bit dumb. To start off with, in what environments do you need the extra little bit of extension, realistically? And I don't think that there's any time when you're going to need the extra inch worth of space that you're not at home or in an office if you're working in I don't know, a church or something like that that has lots of candles. I don't know, I avoid churches. But there are very, very few sort of situations that I can imagine where you're going to need this extension, but you don't have space for something like this. And yes, this is quite a bit bulkier. But again, what environment are you using it in, right? It doesn't need to fit nicely in your pocket. It doesn't need to be super, super easy to use. And the counter argument to that, is, well, what if you're going camping? And what about it? If you're going backpacking, having this weak, it's actually flexing just by me lightly touching with my thumb, extension on the lighter is taking up more space and adding slightly more weight than just having a regular Bic. But by the same token, if you're going longer term camping where you're going to be out for 2 weeks, you might end up needing lighter fluid. So having something closer to a Zippo or a refillable butane lighter is more valuable than having a Bic is anyways, right? And in direct comparison with this, it's going to take up more space in your backpack than a regular Bic is because of this extra unusable space right here, right? It's not tons of space, but if you are backpacking, ounces and inches matter, and that is a reality. So I don't really know of any environment where it's exactly the best, but let's just say around the house, because hey, it is better than a regular Bic around the house. Now let's compare between these two. The advantage that this guy right here really and truly offers is that it is longer than a Bic. Well, this is even longer, which means the flame is even further away from my hands, and I can reach even further into places to light them on fire, which, according to the logic of this being beneficial, this is even more beneficial. The other thing is, look at how much more space I have for lighter fluid, right? I could fit 1.5 of these inside the handle of this with ease. Even look at the width, right? So I am definitely getting a huge advantage in terms of the amount of lighter fluid that this thing can have, which means it's going to last me quite a bit longer. And because neither of these are refillable, having a longer lasting product for the same price is absolutely beneficial, right? Other big thing that this has that the Bic doesn't is I can change how big the flame at the end is. So if I turn it all the way up, I get that kind of flame, and if I turn it all the way down, I get a little bit of a smoother flame. It's not a huge difference. This was a very, very cheap sort of extended lighter, but there is that slight amount of difference. I also get a secondary safety, which if you are leaving it around children, if you are in a house environment where you might tell your kid, hey, can you go grab me the lighter so I can light these candles on the dinner table? They're unlikely to, get this going by accident. That is just a reality of it. So as far as that's concerned, this is easier for kids to injure themselves with. Now, maybe you are the type of person who on your everyday needs this type of lighter, needs a little bit of an extension, so you do want to carry something like this, right? Fine. I don't believe your premise is real, but I will accept it for the sake of this argument. How do you really realistically intend to carry this? If you slip it into your fifth pocket, which would be the natural place for a lighter, your watch pocket, I carry my Zippo in my fifth pocket all the time because that's where it fits the nicest. It keeps it out of the way of everything else, and there's no risk of me accidentally, lighting myself on fire when I stick my phone in my pocket or my wallet back in my pocket or whatever else, right? So that'd be the normal place to put it. But because of how much longer this is, in most fifth pockets, it's just going to be poking you in the stomach, right? Or more accurately, I guess, the side, with this sort of extended every time you sit down, which is very annoying. So the other place to put it would be inside your pocket proper, at which point you have this loose object floating around in your pocket. Maybe that's not the end of the world to you, completely understand if it isn't, but I don't necessarily like having lighters floating around in my pocket, especially ones that are realistically very easy to light by accident. So I do not think that this is a great thing to be keeping floating around in your pocket. And even if you're going to make the argument, yeah, whatever, right? I'm going to throw it in my work bag. Or, I don't know. If you're putting it in a bag anyways, take advantage of the bigger lighter. It just makes sense at that point. Or keep a bigger lighter in your workbench. I don't necessarily think this has sort of a raison d'etre. And for those reasons, like, as much fun as I'm having with this one right here, which, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, I do like having sort of this electric start on a Bic lighter. I wish that it came in like a regular Bic lighter with this electric start, because I think it is a neat idea. I don't think that it's offering any practical advantages over other lighters, and I think that it is a direct drawback compared to both of the products that it's competing with. Right? Like, I just don't think that this is filling a niche in the market. I don't think that there is a situation where this is the correct tool for the job. Unless you are like a diehard Bic person, will only ever use Bics, at which point you need the extended to light your candles. Okay, fine. But you're handicapping yourself with the initial assessment that you're not willing to use other products when the time is right. So overall, this is just a weird guide for me. It doesn't fit anywhere that makes sense to me. So for me, I don't understand why it exists. Direct size comparisons, because that's something that I do with lighters. It's the same size as the regular Bic, but longer in this one very specific area. It is, you know, not as tall, or it is quite a bit taller, but not as wide as the Zippo is. And it is very comparable in terms of thickness. The other thing, and I don't know if this is a shrinkflation thing because this is an older model of Bic, but it is slightly slimmer than my regular Bic. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that's like a thing that all new Bics are just slightly slimmer in order to save on the gas difference or whatever, but that is interesting. So you're getting even less longevity out of it than you would a traditional Bic. Yeah, it's neat. It definitely is something that is going to fit the hole in my collection, but it's not fitting any holes in my life, if that makes any sense. Stay safe, have fun out there. I wouldn't end up buying this. Cheers.